The big glass doors of First National Bank swung open with a whoosh. A little girl walked inside. She was small, very small, maybe 10 years old. Her sneakers squeaked on the shiny floor. She wore a faded purple jacket with a patch on the elbow. Her hair was pulled back in two puffy ponytails tied with rubber bands. Everyone in the bank turned to look. A little girl, all alone, in a bank full of grown-ups in fancy suits. She walked straight to the front desk. Her chin was up. Her eyes were bright and determined. The security guard, Big Mike, scratched his head. "Hey there, sweetie. You lost? Where's your mama?" "I'm not lost," the girl said. Her voice was quiet but firm. "I need to see my balance." Big Mike chuckled. "Your balance? You got a piggy bank account or something?" "No, sir. My real account. Can someone help me, please?" Behind the marble counter, Mrs. Chun, the head teller, smiled kindly. "Sweetheart, do you have an account number? Or maybe a parent with you? I have this." The girl reached into her jacket pocket. She pulled out a crumpled piece of paper and a very old, worn bank card. The card was so old it didn't even have a chip, just a magnetic stripe that looked like it had been through a washing machine. Mrs. Chun took the card carefully. She turned it over. Her smile faded a little. The card was real, and very, very old. "What's your name, honey?" "Maya. Maya Johnson." "Okay, Maya, let me just scan this and see what we have here." From across the bank lobby, a loud laugh erupted. "Ha! Kid's got a bank card. What you got in there? Birthday money from Grandma. $5. Everyone turned. It was Mr. Richard Sterling. Everyone knew Mr. Sterling. He was the richest man in town. He wore a suit that cost more than most people's cars. His watch sparkled with diamonds. He had slick-back gray hair and a smile that showed too many teeth. Mr. Sterling walked over, his expensive shoes clicking on the floor. He looked down at Maya like she was a cute puppy. "Let me guess," he said, still chuckling. "You saved up your allowance? Got $20 in there? Maybe 50 if you've been really good." Maya looked up at him. She didn't smile. She didn't look scared. She just looked at him with those serious brown eyes. "I just want to see my balance," she said again. Mr. Sterling laughed louder. "This is adorable. Kids these days, thinking they're little business people." He turned to his assistant, a nervous man in glasses. "Marcus, can you believe this? A kid playing banker." Mrs. Chin slid the card through her scanner. She typed on her keyboard. She waited. Her computer screen flickered. Then her eyes went wide. Very wide. Mrs. Chun said. Her voice shook a little. Can you excuse me for one moment?" She stood up quickly. She walked past the back office. Through the glass, Maya could see her talking to Mr. Peterson, the bank manager. Mrs. Chin was pointing at her computer. Mr. Peterson's mouth fell open. Mr. Sterling was still laughing. "What's taking so long? Don't tell me the computer can't handle such a huge fortune. What is it? $75. Mr. Peterson came rushing out of his office. His face was pale. He looked at Maya, then at the computer, then at Maya again. "Miss Johnson," he said, his voice cracking, Could you please come with me to my office?" "Why?" Mr. Sterling demanded. "What's going on?" "Sir, this is a private matter." "Private?" "She's a kid with a piggy bank." Mr. Sterling pushed forward. He looked at Mrs. Chen's computer screen before anyone could stop him. His laughter died instantly. His face went white, then red, then white again. That can't be right," he whispered. "That's impossible. The computer's broken. It has to be broken." Big Mike moved closer. "What's wrong, Mr. Sterling? You look like you've seen a ghost." Mr. Sterling pointed at the screen with a shaking finger. "That account, it shows $47,832,645.18, Maya said quietly. $47,832,645.18. The entire bank went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone stared at the little girl in the faded purple jacket. That's impossible. Mr. Sterling shouted. You're a child. Where would you get $47 million? This is fraud. This is a scam. It's not a scam, Maya said. Her voice was still quiet, but now everyone was listening. It's my inheritance from my great-great-grandfather. Mr. Peterson wiped sweat from his forehead. Miss Johnson, this account. It's been dormant for over 90 years. The interest has been compounding since 1933. But how did you find it? How did you get the card? Maya reached into her other pocket. She pulled out an old photograph. The edges were yellow and cracked. It showed a man in an old-fashioned suit standing in front of this very same bank. On the back, in faded pencil, someone had written, "For Maya, when she's ready. Account number 847392. Never forget who you are." My grandma is very sick, Maya said. Her voice got quieter. Before she went to hospital, she told me about the attic. She said there was something up there I needed to find. Something important. Mr. Sterling's face was now purple with anger. This is ridiculous. That money should have been claimed by the state. It should have been redistributed. You can't just walk in here and... Actually, Mr. Peterson interrupted. If the account was legally established and the heir can prove their identity, the money is legally theirs. We'll need to verify everything, of course, but... Verify what? Mr. Sterling sputtered. She's 10 years old. Maya looked up at Mr. Sterling. You laughed at me. You said I probably had $5. You said I was playing pretend. Mr. Sterling's mouth opened and closed like a fish. My grandma always told me, Maya continued, that people will judge you by how you look, by how much money they think you have, by the color of your skin, by your old jacket with the patch. She touched the patch on her elbow, but she said, what matters is what's inside, what's true. The little girl turned to Mr. Peterson. Can I see my balance now? On paper? My grandma asked me to bring her proof. She wants to know that her father's father really did save it for us, that he really did care about his family, even though he died before he could tell anyone. Mr. Peterson nodded slowly. Yes, of course. Let me print your statement. As the printer whirred to life, Maya looked around the silent bank. Everyone was staring at her, but now they weren't seeing a little girl with squeaky shoes and a patch jacket. They were seeing something else entirely. Mr. Sterling stumbled backward. His face was still red. He looked angry and embarrassed and confused all at once. How? He whispered. How did this happen? Maya picked up the printed statement. She folded it carefully and put it in her jacket pocket, right next to her heart. That's a good question, she said. And I think everyone here deserves to know the answer. She took a deep breath. It all started 3 weeks ago, when the storm came. The storm that changed everything. 3 weeks earlier, the sky was angry. Dark clouds rolled over the city like a giant gray blanket. Thunder boomed, so loud it shook the windows. Lightning cracked across the sky in bright white fingers. Maya sat on the old couch in her grandmother's tiny apartment. She hugged her knees and tried not to be scared. Grandma, when's the storm going to stop? Grandma Rose sat in her rocking chair by the window. She was wrapped in 3 blankets, even though it wasn't that cold. She had been sick for a long time. The kind of sick that made her tired all the time. The kind of sick that made Maya worry late at night. Soon, baby, soon. Grandma Rose coughed into her handkerchief. Storms always pass. A huge crack of thunder made Maya jump. Then she heard something else. A loud crash from above. What was that? Maya asked. Grandma Rose looked up at the ceiling. Sounded like it came from the attic. We have an attic? Every old building has an attic, child, though I ain't been up there in 30 years. Grandma Rose coughed again. Her eyes got that faraway look they sometimes got. Maybe it's time. Time for what? Time for you to go looking. Maya frowned. Looking for what? Grandma Rose was quiet for a long moment. The rain pounded on the roof. Finally, she spoke. Maya, baby, come here. Maya went to her grandmother's side. Grandma Rose took her small hand in her wrinkled one. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you a long time ago." She paused. "My grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, his name was Elijah Johnson. He was born in 1889. He worked in this city his whole life. What did he do? He shined shoes right outside the First National Bank every single day for 40 years. Rain or shine. He was there at dawn, gone at dusk." Maya listened carefully. She loved her grandmother's stories. Elijah was a smart man, smarter than most folks gave him credit for. While he shined those rich men's shoes, he listened. He heard them talk about money, about investing, about saving. And Elijah, he saved every penny he could. The lightning flashed again, making shadows dance on the walls. When the Great Depression came in 1929, everyone lost everything. Banks closed. People's money disappeared. But Elijah, he had been careful. He had saved in a special account. And when everyone else was selling their stocks for pennies, he was buying. What happened to him? Maya asked. Grandma Rose's eyes got watery. He died in 1933. Suddenly, heart attack. He was only 44 years old. He left behind my grandmother and my mother, who was just a baby. But he left something else too. What? Instructions. Hidden somewhere in this building. He told my grandmother on his deathbed. It's all for our family, for the children, for the future. I hid it where only family would think to look. Did anyone find it? My grandmother looked everywhere. For years, she never found anything. Eventually, she thought maybe he was confused. Maybe the heart attack made him say strange things. She died thinking the instructions were just a dream. Another crash from above, louder this time. Grandma Rose squeezed Maya's hand. But I don't think it was a dream. I think he hid something up there, in the attic. And Maya, baby, I'm too weak to climb those stairs. But you're not. Maya looked at the ceiling. You want to go up there? In the dark? During the storm? I know you're scared. But I also know you're brave. Braver than you know. Grandma Rose reached into her pocket and pulled out an old key. This opens the attic door. It's in the hallway behind the bookshelf. Push the shelf aside and you'll see it. Maya took the key. It was cold and heavy in her hand. What if I don't find anything? Then you tried. That's what matters. Grandma Rose smiled, but it was a sad smile. But Maya, I feel in my bones. Tonight's the night. The storm broke something loose up there. Something that was meant to stay hidden until you were ready. Maya stood up. Her heart was pounding. She was scared, but she was also curious. And she wanted to make her grandma proud. She grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer. She walked into the hallway. Sure enough, there was an old bookshelf against the wall. She pushed it. It was heavy, but it moved. Behind it was a small door painted the same color as the wall. No wonder no one noticed it. Maya put the key in the lock. It turned with a click. The door swung open. A wooden ladder led up into darkness. Be careful. Grandma Rose called from the living room. Maya started climbing. Each step creaked under her feet. The flashlight beam bounced around in the darkness. She could smell dust and old wood and something else. Something like very old paper. At the top of the ladder, the attic stretched out before her. It was bigger than she expected. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Old furniture sat covered in white sheets that looked like ghosts. And in the corner, something had fallen. The crash she heard. An old trunk had tumbled from a high shelf. It lay open on the floor, its contents spilled everywhere. Maya walked toward it carefully. She pointed her flashlight down. Letters. Dozens of old letters tied with string. Photographs in cracked frames. And a wooden box with a lock. She knelt down. She picked up one of the letters. The paper was so old it felt like it might crumble in her hands. She read the careful handwriting. To my beloved family, if you are reading this, I have passed on. Do not mourn for me. I have lived a good life and made preparations for your future. Follow the map. Trust the numbers. The bank knows. Account number 847392. Everything I saved, everything I invested, it is yours. Tell them you are Elijah Johnson's blood. Tell them you have come to claim what is yours. I love you all. I will watch over you from heaven. Elijah, Maya's hands were shaking. She set down the letter and picked up the wooden box. She tried to open it, but it was locked. She looked around the spilled contents. There had to be a key somewhere. Thunder boomed. The whole attic shook. And then she saw it. A small key on a chain, hidden under a photograph. The photograph showed Elijah standing in front of First National Bank. He was smiling. On the back was written, "For Maya, when she's ready." "For Maya?" she whispered. But how did he know my name? He died before Grandma was even born. Her fingers trembled as she picked up the key. She unlocked the wooden box. Inside was a bank card, old and worn, but still intact. And beneath it, a folded piece of paper that looked like a map. Maya unfolded the map carefully. It showed the city streets. An X marked the location of First National Bank. Written in the margin were numbers, 847392. And words, "The account grows. Time is a secret. Patience is a key." But there was something else in the box. Something that made Maya's breath catch in her throat. It was another letter. This one was addressed to the heir who finds this. Maya opened it with shaking hands. "To whoever finds this treasure, you have been chosen, not by luck, but by blood and determination. The money in account number 847392 was earned by honest work, saved with sacrifice, invested with wisdom. I started with $2,000. By the time you read this, it will be much more. Use it wisely. Use it to help others. Use it to prove that we are not what they say we are. We are smart. We are capable. We are worthy. Show them. Make them see." Elijah. Maya sat back on her heels. Her mind was spinning. $2,000 in 1933, growing for over 90 years with compound interest. How much would that be now? She gathered everything carefully. The letters, the photographs, the bank card, the map. She put them all back in the wooden box and carried it down the ladder. Grandma Rose was waiting. When she saw Maya's face, she knew. "You found it," Grandma Rose whispered. "I found it." Maya set the box on her grandmother's lap. "Grandma, there's an account at the bank, and it has money, a lot of money. Elijah saved it for us." Grandma Rose opened the box with trembling hands. She looked at the contents. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "My grandfather," she said softly, "he really did it. He really did provide for us." "Grandma, the letter says I have to go to the bank. I have to claim it. Then that's what you'll do. But I'm just a kid. They won't listen to me." Grandma Rose looked at Maya with fierce eyes. "They will listen, because you're Elijah Johnson's heir. You are his blood, and you carry his courage." She touched Maya's cheek. "But baby, I need to warn you. When you walk into that bank with nothing but faith and an old card, people will laugh. They'll judge you. They'll say you're too young, too small, too black." Maya said quietly. Grandma Rose nodded sadly. "Yes, baby. Some of them will think that, just like they thought about Elijah when he shined their shoes. They didn't see his intelligence. They didn't see his dreams. They just saw a black man on his knees. But he proved them wrong. He did, and now you will too." Maya looked at the bank card in her hand. Tomorrow, she would go to First National Bank. Tomorrow, she would face their laughter and their doubt. Tomorrow, she would show them who she really was. But tonight, she sat with her grandmother and looked through the letters and photographs of a man she never met. A man who loved his family so much that he planned for their future 90 years in advance. "Grandma," Maya said softly. "Yes, baby." "Do you think he can see us?" "From heaven." Grandma Rose smiled through her tears. "I think he's been watching over us this whole time, waiting for the right moment, waiting for you." The storm outside began to fade. The thunder grew distant. The rain became gentle. And in the morning, Maya would change everything. Back in the bank, everyone waited. Maya stood in the middle of the lobby, the printed statement in her pocket, the weight of 90 years of history on her small shoulders. Mr. Sterling had finally stopped sputtering. He just stared at her with wide eyes. The storm, Maya said quietly. The storm knocked down a trunk in our attic. Inside was everything my great-great-grandfather left for us. Letters, photographs, and this. She held up the old bank card. Mr. Peterson adjusted his glasses. Miss Johnson, I need to investigate this account immediately. This is extraordinary. Would you mind waiting in my office while I make some calls? I'll wait, Maya said. Mr. Sterling stepped forward. His face was still red. Now hold on just a minute. We don't even know if this is legitimate. This could be a mistake, a computer error. The account could have been closed decades ago and... Mr. Sterling, Mr. Peterson interrupted firmly. With all due respect, this is not your concern. Not my concern? I'm the bank's biggest client. I have a right to know what's happening. You have a right to privacy regarding your accounts, not anyone else's. Mr. Peterson turned to Maya. Please come with me. As Maya walked toward the office, she heard whispers all around. $47 million. Just a little girl. How is that even possible? Big Mike, the security guard, bent down to Maya's level. Hey, kid, you're pretty brave, you know that? Maya gave him a small smile. Thank you. In Mr. Peterson's office, Maya sat in a big leather chair. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Mr. Peterson sat behind his desk and started typing on his computer very fast. Okay, he said, let me look into this account history. Account number 847392, established in... His eyes widened. 1925. The account was opened with $2,000. The account holder was Elijah Johnson, born 1889, died in 1933. That's him, Maya said. That's my great-great-grandfather. Mr. Peterson kept reading. The account was set up as it was set up as a generational trust, with specific instructions that it could only be accessed by a direct descendant. And look at this. He leaned closer to the screen. The money was invested in various stocks. During the Great Depression, while everyone was selling, this account was buying. Steel, railroads, later, technology companies. Someone was very, very smart about this. Elijah listened. Maya explained. While he shined shoes outside this bank, he listened to the rich men talk. He learned from them. Then he did what they did. Mr. Peterson looked at Maya with new respect. Your great-great-grandfather was a remarkable man. There was a knock on the door. Mrs. Chun came in with a thick folder. Mr. Peterson, I pulled all the historical records. Everything checks out. The account is legitimate, and based on the compound interest over 92 years, plus the stock investments, the balance is accurate. $47 million, Mr. Peterson said, still sounding amazed. Maya took a deep breath. Can I ask you something? Of course. In Elijah's letter, he said to use the money wisely, to help others, to prove something. She pulled out the letter from her jacket and handed it to Mr. Peterson. Can you read this? Mr. Peterson read the letter slowly. When he finished, his eyes were wet. This is beautiful, he whispered. He wanted you to show the world what your family could achieve. But I'm confused, Maya said. My grandma is sick, really sick. The hospital bills are expensive. We barely have enough money for food sometimes. This money could help us. It could save her. Then that's what you should do, Mr. Peterson said gently. But what if that's not what Elijah meant? What if he wanted something bigger? Before Mr. Peterson could answer, the door burst open. Mr. Sterling stood there, breathing hard. Behind him was a woman in an expensive suit carrying a briefcase. This is my lawyer, Mrs. Patterson, Mr. Sterling announced. And we're here to contest this account. Contest it? Mr. Peterson stood up. On what grounds? On the grounds that unclaimed accounts after 75 years should be turned over to the state. On the grounds that a child cannot possibly manage this kind of money. On the grounds that you're jealous, Maya said quietly. Everyone stopped. They all looked at the little girl. Maya stood up from her chair. She looked Mr. Sterling right in the eyes. You laughed at me because I don't look rich. Because I'm wearing an old jacket. Because you thought I couldn't possibly have anything valuable. Her voice was steady and clear. But Elijah looked like someone who didn't matter too. People walked past him every day. They didn't see him. They just saw a shoe shiner. That's different, Mr. Sterling started. No, it's not, Maya interrupted. You judge people by what you see on the outside. Elijah knew people would do that. That's why he worked so hard. That's why he saved every penny. That's why he invested smart. He wanted to prove that it doesn't matter what you look like or where you start. What matters is what you do, what you build, what you leave behind. The lawyer, Mrs. Patterson, set down her briefcase. She was staring at Maya with surprise. Mr. Sterling, she said slowly, I don't think we have a case here. What? But you said. I said I'd look into it. And now that I've heard the story, I can tell you that this account is completely legal. The trust was properly established. The heir has been verified. There's nothing to contest. She looked at Maya. Young lady, what your great-great-grandfather did was extraordinary. He created generational wealth through honest work and smart planning. That's admirable. Mr. Sterling's face went from red to purple. This is ridiculous. She's a child. So what? Big Mike's voice came from the doorway. He had been listening. She's got more sense than half the adults I know. Other people from the bank lobby were crowding around the office door now, listening. The girl found something her family thought was lost forever, Mrs. Chin said. That takes courage. She came here alone to honor her grandmother's request, added another teller. That takes love. Mr. Peterson nodded. And she's asking the right questions about what to do with the money. That takes wisdom. Maya looked at all the faces watching her. Then she looked down at Elijah's letter in her hands. I know what I need to do, she said. Everyone waited. First, I'm going to pay for my grandma's hospital bills. All of them. And I'm going to make sure she gets the best care. That's what Elijah would want. Family first. Mr. Sterling snorted. Well, obviously. But, Maya continued, that's not all. Elijah said to help others. To prove something. So I'm going to start a scholarship fund. For kids who look like me. For kids whose families don't have much money. For kids who people don't expect to succeed. She looked at Mr. Sterling. I'm going to help kids that people like you would laugh at. The room went completely silent. I'm going to call it the Elijah Johnson Scholarship. Every year, it will pay for 10 kids to go to college. Kids who work hard. Kids who have dreams. Kids who just need a chance. Mrs. Patterson smiled. That's a wonderful idea. And Maya said, her voice getting stronger, I'm going to hire someone to teach me about money, about investing, about how to make this money grow even more. Because if Elijah could turn $2,000 into millions, imagine what we can do in another 90 years. Mr. Peterson was grinning now. I think your great-great-grandfather will be very, very proud of you. Mr. Sterling stood there with his mouth open. He looked angry, then confused, then something else, something softer. You're really going to give money away? He asked quietly, when you could keep it all for yourself. Maya looked at him. Elijah could have kept all his money for himself too, but he didn't. He saved it for people he would never even meet. For me, and now I'm going to save it for people I might never meet. That's what family does. That's what community does. But I have so much more money than you'll ever have, and I never... Mr. Sterling trailed off. He looked down at his expensive shoes, the shoes that probably cost more than Maya's grandmother's rent. Maybe that's something you should think about, Maya said gently. It's never too late to start helping people. Mr. Sterling didn't say anything. He just turned and walked slowly out of the office. His lawyer followed him, but at the door, Mrs. Patterson turned back. Miss Johnson, if you need any legal help setting up that scholarship fund, I'll do it for free. It would be an honor. Maya smiled. Thank you. Over the next hour, Mr. Peterson helped Maya set everything up. They created a separate account for the scholarship fund. They arranged for her grandmother's medical bills to be paid. They set up a trust so that Maya could access her money properly when she turned 18. And they made copies of all of Elijah's letters and photographs to send to a local museum so that other people could learn about the shoe shiner who became a secret millionaire. When everything was done, Maya stood up to leave. She had the printed statement in her pocket, the proof that her grandmother had asked for, the proof that Elijah had really cared, that he had really planned, that he had really loved them. As she walked to the bank lobby, something amazing happened. Everyone stood up, the tellers, the customers, Big Mike, even some people who had been watching from the street outside. They clapped. They clapped for a little girl in a faded purple jacket with a patch on the elbow, a little girl who had walked in alone and changed everything. Maya felt her eyes get hot with tears, but she blinked them back. She waved goodbye and pushed open the big glass doors. Outside, the sun was shining. The storm from 3 weeks ago was long gone. Maya walked home, her sneakers squeaking with each step. She couldn't wait to see her grandmother's face. Couldn't wait to tell her that everything was going to be okay. When she got to the apartment, Grandma Rose was still in her rocking chair. She looked up when Maya came in. "Well," Grandma Rose asked, though her smile said she already knew. Maya pulled out the statement and placed it gently in her grandmother's hands. Grandma Rose looked at it. One tear rolled down her cheek. "He really did it," she whispered. "That stubborn, brilliant man. He really did it." And Grandma? Maya sat on the floor by her grandmother's chair. "I'm going to do it too. I'm going to make him proud. I'm going to help people. I'm going to show everyone what we can do." Grandma Rose stroked Maya's hair. "Baby, you already have. Today, you taught a whole bank full of people that you can't judge a book by its cover. You taught them that wisdom doesn't come from age or money. It comes from heart." That night, Maya looked out her window at the stars. Somewhere up there, she imagined Elijah looking down. Elijah, who had shined shoes for 40 years, so that someday a little girl he would never meet could walk into a bank with her head held high. "Thank you," Maya whispered to the stars. "Thank you for believing in me before I was even born." And somewhere in the darkness, if you listened very carefully, you might have heard the gentle sound of laughter, the warm, proud laughter of a great-great-grandfather who had waited 92 years to see his greatest investment finally pay off. Not the money, the legacy. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message about not judging others and the power of generational wisdom. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another inspiring story. Drop a comment below telling us, what would you do with an unexpected inheritance? Let's keep this conversation going. Maya's story reminds us that our actions today create ripples that reach far into the future. What legacy will you leave behind?